Many thanks for staying with us. It's still the Good Morning Cross River Breakfast Show. My name is Blessing Goharekwe. Joining us this morning is a true polymath herself, someone who wears many hats and wears them very well. I'm talking about, she's an on-air personality, a relationship expert, and the driving force behind the Thelma Says initiative. I'm talking about the one, the only Thelma Plethora Benson. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me on the show this morning.
Today is World Menstrual Hygiene Day.
Yes.
And of course, we know about your project that has been going on for a couple of years now. So let's quickly talk about your inspiration. What has inspired you all of these years?
So I like to share the story a lot. I went to a government school. I remember, I think I was in just 3 or SS1 or thereabouts. I can't be certain now. And this team of persons came to our school and they taught us how to properly use sanitary. Before that time, I didn't know about menstrual hygiene. I didn't know about the proper use of sanitary. In fact, I grew up in a community where we didn't use sanitary at all. And after that experience, it felt like I was introduced to a new world entirely. You would think that it was because it was those years, but even as of today, there are young girls whose families still make them use rags, piece of cloth, and all that. So I feel I have always thought that if somebody had not come to me, I would never have been introduced into the world of hygiene, proper sanitary hygiene. So I want to do the same thing for the next generation. This is the driving force behind why every year we go back to our community, our immediate community, to say proper hygiene is important. We should end menstrual poverty. We should end, the struggle. I feel like sanitary pads should be free to every young woman, because we don't ask for this. We don't beg to have sanitary monthly periods. We just get them, right? We get these monthly periods without our consent. So if condoms can be free, it is a choice to have sex. We should have free sanitaries too. So even though we cannot afford to do that all round the year, at least for the World Menstrual Hygiene Day, we have taken this corporate responsibility to go back and give back to the society.
All right, amazing response. And of course, let's talk about the Thelma Says initiative, the Paddy Girl Child project. How did that come to life, and how is it that you've been able to sustain this project for these years?
The first year, it was just a dream. It was just something I thought to do. But I have come to realize, like with everything else, once there is a way, there's a dream, there is a way. There are people who are willing to fund a project. You just need somebody who is willing to stand at the frontier and say, I'm going to pilot this project. So I think we started this in 2020. That was the first year. It was just small, just a little, and then by 2021 we went to a government school. For funding it, we have partners, we have businesses who every year, in fact I only realized this year that it has become a part of some businesses. Even when we didn't reach out to them, they reached out to us, and they were like, is this project not happening this year? And we said, we're doing this. But because we had a plan, we didn't want to go around and keep seeking support. So we had been working for this year since we finished last year's project. So we've had resources on ground to do this. And so what we just needed was put out a little information out there and encourage people. We have volunteers who volunteer in cash, volunteer in time, volunteer in resources to make this project come to life. A big shout out to Ikondo Microfinance Bank. They're one of our strongest partners. Every single year they come through for us. This year, as a matter of fact, we didn't reach out to them, they reached out to us, and it shows that as a business, as an entity, they have community at heart and they're willing to reach back to the community.
All right, just like every other organization, NGOs and all of that, they have their own challenges. Let's talk about the challenges you face, whenever you want to, organize this program. What are those challenges that you face that you wish can be eliminated?
There are lots of them. The dynamics are different.
Okay.
For instance, before now, we usually do this. Sensitizations in schools, secondary schools. We talk to senior secondary, because we believe those ones have grown. But this year we thought about it and we said, the children in school, I believe that they have teachers who one way or the other touch on this subject. So this year we decided to take it into the market. So today we will be at Wat Market roundabout. The young girls who sell mfi, cup, those little things. You look at them and you think that, they should know, but they may not have anybody to look up to. One of the major challenges we have is getting authorizations to do these projects. You want to reach out to the people in school. Sometimes the principals, the teachers, they pose as a challenge. Sometimes you bring these sanitary pads to school. The Telma's initiative also does something we call Books for Schools. That is done in September. We buy books and we take them to schools, especially public schools, because we believe there are a lot of parents who, of course, we know how the economy is going, so we want to support and give, help to this parent. You take these things to schools. The teachers, the people who are supposed to, they seem to have favorite students. They don't actually look out for the people who need them. Do you get? They're interested in their faves. They want to make sure that it gets to a certain.
So how do you take that away from them?
Over the years, we have found a way that works. Before now, we do the sensitization, we leave the produce with the teachers and let them deal with it. But we discovered it doesn't work that way. So now we go, we stay, we make sure that we see the students that are getting, what we have brought. And then we make sure that the students understand. And we also realize that when you go to these schools, you discover that the girl child is dealing with a lot. And sometimes the teachers, the guardians, they're not approachable enough for these children to approach them and say, this is what I'm dealing with. I can't tell you how many young girls reach out to me on a daily basis from secondary schools, different secondary schools that we've gone to. They reach out to me, they have something to say. We need to be able to allow children approach us as adults, especially if you're a guardian, a parent, or a teacher. You're the first contact person to these children. There needs to be a way for them to reach to you, talk to you about what they're dealing with,
All right. Quickly, let's talk about the venue for the Party Girl Child, this year. That's the particular location where these girls can meet you, and what age? Is there any age difference? Let's talk about these things.
Well, for the sensitization, there's no age limit. But for the distribution of sanitary pads, we look for teenage girls. Young girls from the age of 9 have started to see their periods.
Just in case there are some young girls watching this program now, and they're wondering, am I supposed to be a part of this project?
Well, yes, you should be a part of this project. We're going to be at Wat Market roundabout. We're going to be very conspicuous. It's going to be really loud because, it's a marketplace. We need to get the attention of people. So you're not going to miss us. And of course, you're going to see people in these branded t-shirts on the streets with us. Now, like I said, the sensitization is open to everybody. You would be surprised that women in their 30s, 40s don't know about menstrual hygiene, proper menstrual hygiene. So sensitization is open, but to give out sanitary, because we're giving out 2,000 sanitaries, we cannot give to everybody. We are focusing on teenage girls who cannot afford, who cannot afford to buy the sanitary, so we give to them. And then sometimes in the process of all this, we have conversations with these girls, and then we make arrangements to provide sanitary for the rest of the year. If you give a sanitary pad to a girl, for some people you need about 2 packs, you need 3 packs, depending, for a month. So sometimes we make arrangements to give them, as maybe that will take for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and then we make out other arrangements that we can reach out to them again, even though it's not menstrual hygiene month or menstrual hygiene day, to support and make sure that they don't go back to using rags, tissue, and all that.
So are you of the opinion that pads should be distributed freely.
Absolutely.
Let's have this conversation, because you've seen speculations on social media, people saying, we did not ask for this, just like you rightly said at the beginning, we didn't ask for this. So why can't we have sanitary pads free of charge?
Yeah, I think
at the store, a girl can just walk into a store and then get sanitary pads for free.
You see, the thing is, people don't seem to realize how much what goes on during that week when a girl is seeing her monthly flow. A lot of people don't understand the dynamics. Everything changes. Imagine a young girl who doesn't even know what this is. There are so many young girls without parents. There are some girls who live, they're just grown up, they're just there. There are some who have parents who are not even enlightened enough to teach them. So these girls don't know these things.
And the street girls too.
Do you understand? There are girls who are on the streets. Pads should be free. You see that sometimes you see condoms are being shared on the street. Free. They even share lubricants.
For free.
Why are you sharing lubricants? If a person decides I'm of the age to frolic, he should be able to afford condoms, lubricants, and all that comes along with that path. But a young girl in secondary school, where does she go? And imagine how expensive sanitary pads have become.
More expensive than
they have become so expensive. So where does a teenage girl get the money? You would say, oh, her parents should provide. You mean the parents who have not even been able to feed the 5 children at home? I think there should be, free sanitary. People should be able to walk in every month and say, it's almost my time. And you get maybe in primary health centers, in the hospitals, in clinics. We should do this as a people, as a government, one way or the other, which is why I advocate all the time and I say, we don't have to wait for the government. No matter how many people are doing, there are so many people doing the Party Girl Child projects today, but no matter how many people are doing that, it is never enough.
Absolutely.
Never.
Absolutely. Which brings me to my next question. How can people, NGOs, organizations, even the government, get involved into this, your project, Party Girl Child?
So Party Girl Child is open. We seek for donations every year. We ask people to support us. We have something, we work our resources to a point, but the more support we get, the more we can do. We would really love to give more than 2,000 sanitaries today, but we cannot afford it. So we do just what we can afford. Imagine if we had the support of the government. Imagine if we had the support of, let's say, the Ministry of Women Affairs, of businesses, of individuals. Just because you're not in government does not mean you cannot support this. We know that you may not have the time, you may not have the vision to want to do this, but there are people doing this. There are initiatives everywhere. Find one. Send a donation. Thelma says the initiative is asking for a donation. Send a donation. Our project starts at about 2 p.m., 3 p.m. today. So you have enough time to send a donation into us, and we can fund and buy more pads and give out to people,
All right, let's talk about the long-term goals. What are your long-term goals for this project? Yes.
We're looking that, God willing, by God's mercies, we should be able to establish properly. You know how we're talking about give free sanitaries to people. We want to establish hubs in various locations where people, young girls, can just walk in. I'm particular about teenage girls. You see a lot of teenage pregnancies. Those are the things that we discuss in our sensitization programs. What happens when your period is about to come? You know how your hormones begin to react. You know how you're ovulating. You as an adult would understand these things, but a teenage girl doesn't know, and it doesn't stop these feelings from coming to her. We want to be able to establish hubs everywhere, at least in our state, where young girls can go in, be mentored, they can talk to somebody, have a heart-to-heart conversation, and take sanitary. Every time it is your time of the month, just walk into a Thelma Says hub, take sanitary and go and use it. That is our long-term goal, and God willing, if Jesus tarries, we will achieve it.
All right, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. What are your final words? Let's hear.
I want to say that it doesn't matter what gender you are. You could be a man, you could be a woman. Menstrual hygiene is not a gender selective thing. Everybody should put hands on deck. Let's talk about it so that as a man, when you have this information, you know how to treat the women around you, you know how to treat the young girls around you when it comes to, you know, that time of the month for them. I see men, we go to men and we say, be a part of the initiative, and they say, no, I cannot be wearing pad, a girl child. Why are you embarrassed? You shouldn't be. Let's all put hands on deck and get a better, safer menstrual hygiene world.
All right, thank you so much
Thank
again
you
for speaking to us this morning. Of course, it's still the Good Morning Cross River Breakfast Show, and my name is Blessing Oharekwe. More stories coming your way. Stay with us. I will be right back.